Okay, so thank you very much for having me here today on DNA Day. And it's a pleasure for me to present you with MyHeritage DNA, the part at least which is the results, the matching from the DNA test that you can do or upload. I have been working for MyHeritage since 2006, mostly liaising with genealogy societies, bloggers, and media, but also doing like this today, lecturing either virtual or in person in conferences around the world, which is one of the things that I really like the most. Now, MyHeritage started with DNA in 2016. I will be the first one to admit that it's a little bit late to the party, but that gives us the option to come stronger with better technology and understanding more what is in the market by that time and trying to improve the different things available. One of those improvements, I have to say, is the capability to accept uploads from other companies, because obviously other companies were already testing everybody out there. So for you, you can either take a MyHeritage DNA test, which sometimes, depending on the season and this week, have a very good price. But let me save you a couple of bucks, because if you have done a DNA test in any of these other companies, you will be able to upload your autosomal DNA into MyHeritage and get exactly the same features that anybody else. So let's start looking at those features in general. And this is the overview page of the DNA matches or the DNA results on MyHeritage. You will see on the top that we will give you a summary of the ethnicity estimation. If you go a little bit below that, you will see your DNA matches divided into the groups according to the relationship, meaning close family, probably those people that agree to test with the only condition that you will not bother them anymore. The extended family, which are the people that you may be able to find a relationship easier if you don't know yet how you're related to that. And then you have the distance relative, which is practically the rest of the world, because we're all humans and we are connected one way or the other. Below that, you will find the location of your matches, mainly to brag that MyHeritage is actually selling DNA almost in every country around the world. And I say almost because at the moment we have two countries out there that were forbidden to sell DNA kits, France and Israel. They are prohibited in those countries. But you can see in the map that people from those countries found the way to get DNA for them. Now, if you go back to the top and the menu of the DNA, you will have the ethnicity estimation. And this is actually a screenshot from my old ethnicities, because MyHeritage just released a 2.5 version of new calculus of new ethnicities. In my case, I passed from 88% being Ashkenazi Jew to a more correct one, but very boring, 100% Ashkenazi Jew. So I'm really not here for the ethnicity. I'm here for the matches. And there is a lot of things that we have for you behind your matches, because you will get some tools related to genealogical data, meaning the family tree that you and the other person has on MyHeritage. And if you don't have a family tree on MyHeritage, I don't know why, because you can start for free and upload from other places as a JEDCOM, and that will help you a lot with your DNA matches, and I will prove that by the end of this presentation. And also some tools relying on the genetic data, on the actual DNA. This is how MyHeritage will show you your matches. In this case, well, I have a few thousand matches, but I have selected one that I, of course, change all the information. There is no person with the name Brian Jansen. I mean, they may be, but it's not that person and it's not related to me because all the names in this presentation have been obfuscated, changed, or privatized to protect the privacy of those individuals, except for my mom that she doesn't care. She knows that I use her a lot on my presentations. And because you may have so many matches on MyHeritage, you will want some filters in order to concentrate on those that are more important. Definitely, the ones that have a theory of family relativity are the first ones you want to see and evaluate. I will explain you about that in a minute. But also, if you have smart matches or a shared surname or a shared place, and all this is thanks to the family trees that you should have on MyHeritage. Now, you also can view only those close family, extended family, or distant relatives that we were talking before by location. If you're traveling, I don't know, to Germany and you would like to meet one of your DNA cousins, maybe this is a way to get in touch with them. And the labels that you can create. But I will go that in detail in one more second. First, let me show you that you can sort all your matches by the different segments, the largest, the full name. If you ask me what I do every Sunday, and not because I'm a religious person, but because that's the day when MyHeritage sends me an email with the new DNA matches that they found for me. I come here, I click most recent, and I get all the last matches that were found for me. So I will not go over the same people again and again. You will see that MyHeritage gives you here a summary in order to know if this match is really good or not. In this case, with Brian Jansen, allegedly, I have a theory of family relativity, but I also see that I share some last names. Well, Cohen, of course, is like saying Smith, so not very useful, at least for me, but it is something that for you may be a hint. Then you have also smart matches and places. And remember, your ancestors didn't travel that much. So they were all in the same area. So if you have people from that area, you want to look at them first. What else you have here? Well, this is the part of the labels, and you can create up to 36 labels with different colors and 100 characters. I prefer always to put the word paternal or maternal, then the last name. Sometimes I even use grandmother, great grandfather, depending if I know already the exact common ancestor or the branch in my family that this person is matching. And I will show you a trick how to do that. And then I can just select the label and apply to the match and having the matches classified by those labels. So if I want to concentrate on my Horowitz family, I can do that from here without a problem. I also have another extra label, which is the favorite DNA matches, which I use just to mark those that I am currently evaluating and currently working on. And for that, I also have the possibility to write a note or a log and say what I did with this person, and if I contact them already, if it's a good match, a bad match, whatever you want to put there, it's up to you. And when you save it, it will color the balloon into purple. Now, one more thing that MyHeritage does for you at this stage is taking advantage of the global uh, reach of MyHeritage and the technology of translation, because we may have individuals or users around the world that write their names not in Latin characters, meaning Cyrillic, Greek, Hebrew. I don't know how are you reading those names, but if you are like me, meaning not understanding anything, MyHeritage will translate that for you. And I know that this guy, for example, is Romas Matievich Blims, even if I don't read Russian. And I will know also the confidence of the calculation, the estimate relationship. And remember, I said the new matches are coming every Sunday. So for about a week, we will have this new tag in all the matches. But this is just a summary. Again, thousands and thousands of matches listed here. The next step should be to go and to review this DNA match in detail. So what I did is I created this presentation with all the possible scenarios. It doesn't mean that you will have every one of the sections that you have here, because different issues will decide if you see it or not. For example, the theory of family relativity will always be first if you have a theory. And no, not everybody has a theory of family relativity. And what is this theory of family relativity? Well, it's actually very easy. First, is a theory that MyHeritage calculated for you, and it's up to you to go and to verify it. That theory is based on the millions of family trees and records that MyHeritage has. And what it's trying to do is trying to find the path or paths in plural between you and your DNA match. Why you can have multiple paths? Well, because you may have multiple family trees that will connect you and your DNA match. You may have multiple records that will prove that connection. So you can go in different ways. Now, let's go and see this. And what we're seeing here is very nice. It says that I go through my mother, grandfather, great grandfather up to the common ancestors and then down to Brian's family tree. And all looks very nice. But as a genealogist, I want to really see what's coming with this match. So MyHeritage will give you the opportunity to view the full theory and the different steps that were calculated, not in one, but in every of the theories that we have for you. By the way, you can always accept and reject those theories. It will really don't do anything yet. We're working on that, but at least you will get a symbol to tell you if this theory is good or bad. And the reason why the theory may not be 100% right is because when you go back into many generations back in time, if you have a John Smith that was born in Boston, Massachusetts in 1800s, where there were a lot of those. And if somebody doesn't have an accurate family tree, then the theories may get a little bit funny. Now, at any point in time, you can go and you can review those matches. Even if they are with people in other languages, we will still understand those languages and match you to those trees. And then you can see the profile of the individuals. In this case, this is my family tree that connects to another person family tree, and I can contact that other person, because if we have a smart match, it means we should have some people in common and common origins. You will see other family trees or records, and Jeannie for MyHeritage point of view, it is a record, not a family tree, until you get to the other person. Now, for me, of course, this is all very nice, but imagine from the other part, Brian only has a family tree with a father. And imagining that he doesn't know anything else about his family, it will be great for him just to know that he has this connection and prove the DNA match that MyHeritage found with me. Now, let me tell you, before I keep scrolling down, and this is a very long page, even if the theory is not correct, you can be completely sure that the DNA match, it is correct, okay? DNA don't lie. Records and people, they do sometime. So if I keep scrolling down, MyHeritage is going to tell me the probable relationship. And this is based on the amount of DNA that we have together. In this case, I am sharing 1.5% DNA with Brian. And if you ask me, I always prefer to talk about percentages. It's also will give you the centimorgans over there, but it's a little bit more complicated with talking that. And according to this, it means we're 49% third cousins. But of course, that I could be a second cousin or a half second cousin, again, depending the family tree. So I will be able to view not only more possible relationships with the most recent common ancestor, so I will know who to look into the family tree, but I also will get a graphic where I will be able to understand and to pinpoint better, taking into account the age of Brian related to me, if it's my own generation, if it's a generation above or below, and being able to validate this estimation. Also, you will notice that we will tell you the probability of the most recent common ancestor, even if this is not a full relationship, but only half relationship. We will take that into account as well. If I keep scrolling down, I will see or should see smart matches, individuals in my tree that are also in Brian's tree. And if we have a smart match and we have a DNA match, probably this is the branch that we're talking about. But let's not get deviated from the goal of the DNA match. Let's keep on this page and scroll a little bit down. I get to my share ancestral surnames. As I say before, if we're both having the same last names, probably that is how we are related. Although Cohen, again, for me, it's not a lot of useful. But even if I don't see here any last names in common, I can open a window and see all my last names with all Brian's last names. Maybe some of them will ring bells, even if I don't have it, or if it's not with the same spelling variation. The next section is the shared ancestral places. Remember, again, people married and lived in very similar areas. And also here you will be able to see all the places from my tree and the other person's trees. You only need to remember, number one, border move. So the people that I am tagging as living in Romania, somebody else may be using Ukraine because that is how or where actually today those places are located. Okay. My family, when they were born, it was Romania, but today is Ukraine. By the way, I recommend you always to use the current location to avoid these kinds of issues and problems. Now, the next section is really the key to all the DNA matches. And you can see here that the first common match that I share with Brian is my mom, which automatically tells me that Brian is related to me through my maternal line. So I can come here and I can edit or create a label, okay, same as I did from the first page. And I can actually tag all these individuals, both Brian and the ones sharing in this list, as my maternal matches. Okay, because if it's not maternal, it's paternal, right? 50% from one, 50% from the other. If I identify that I have a cousin, a second cousin, third cousin, that it's coming not from only my maternal, but my maternal mother or father, I can make that label even more specific. Another thing I can do here is to sort those matches by the amount of matches shared with me or shared with Brian. For example, you see Jacob and Tara here. Jacob is first on the list because the amount of DNA that he shares in total. But if I will change this and have it the most amount of matches of DNA match with me, Tara will then be first and Jacob will be second. This is just an example. You actually see how you get all your close matches sorted, or you get all Brian matches sorted. Now, once you figure out this, the next area will be the family tree. And this is the point where I at least get a little bit disappointed because not everybody has a good family tree on MyHeritage. And if you remember how DNA works, what we're trying to do is to find the most recent common ancestor. And if Brian has only the set of parents, well, it's going to be very difficult to compare it to me if I have a bigger family tree and try to find who these people are. So definitely I will try to visit the family tree of Brian, understand better his ancestors, and that is why MyHeritage color coded all the individuals in the family tree. So even if I am evaluating a different last name or a different individual, I will know how they are connected to Brian, if it's paternal grandfather, grandmother, maternal grandfather, or grandmother with those colors. But again, let's keep on this page because we still have one more area to show, and that is the chromosome browser, at least the 1-to-1, meaning those purple areas are the DNA that I'm sharing with Brian. You will see that we have a lot of other areas that you're not sharing, and that will depend on how much or how many DNA you are actually sharing, and some areas that we don't even look at them. And that is like a decision, a company decision. One more thing you will note is that normally you have 23 chromosomes, but we're only looking at 22. And I will remind you that this is because we are testing autosomal. We're not testing the X, we're not testing the Y, we're only taking autosomal DNA, which is 22 chromosomes. And we will tell you exactly where is this match done, the amount of centimorgans, the amount of snippets, and the size of that. Now, with this, and probably a little bit faster than I planned, but I wanted to make sure that, first of all, I will answer all your questions and any questions that you have. And because I know this is being recorded, I'm leaving you here with three of the most important URLs on MyHeritage. The wiki page, the first URL, is a general genealogy encyclopedia that you can use for free without any problem and not even registration on MyHeritage. The help section or FAQ, where you can find questions, and or you can do questions and find the answers, or the education which is also known as the knowledge base, where you will find articles and videos and webinars that will help you uh, finding answers to all the questions that you have and being a better MyHeritage user. Shannon, I see some comments on the chat. I don't know if there are some questions over there, if you would like to read it to me or to tell me. Um, if not, oh, I see.
Absolutely. Yes, so most of the comments are my own comments, largely
Okay,
repeating what you said or adding a little bit extra to it. But I do want to note that Nikki O indicates that Brian Jansen is also a match to her family. And I just reiterated how important it is to build and attach family trees to all of your DNA profiles, whether they are at MyHeritage or elsewhere. And I also placed the links that you mentioned in the chat so that people can copy and paste, look
excellent,
those up.
excellent. Thank you very much for that.
Not a problem at all. Thank you ever so much for your excellent presentation. We now stand ready to field any questions that might be out there amongst our audience. And we do encourage audience members to feel free to turn on their cameras and turn on the microphones when they have questions so that we can continue with this conversation.
I see Jerome raising his hand. So I think he has a question or he's just waving at me, one of those.
A little of both, Daniel. Thank you for sharing with us this today. And I guess my question centers on where do you see the DNA discovery adventure going over the next couple of years? Do you envision it picking up, slowing down, staying about the same? Give us your view on where things are headed.
Okay, with more than pleasure. So I'm going to be honest with you. I thought until a couple of years ago that we were going to have a decline on the amount of DNA sold, okay, thinking that everyone that wanted to test already tested, okay? To my surprise, that was not the case. The sales of DNAs have been very stable. And in fact, there was a post from Leah Larkin a couple of days ago where she showed that for all the companies, the DNA world is growing. It's still growing. Of course, not at the same pace as years before, but still, new people are getting interested and are taking the DNA test. So that is already good news because the other part is that the bigger the database, the more samples we have, more chances that we have to find our relatives. But with that, I will need to recognize also that a lot of the people that did DNA earlier did it just for the novelty of it, did it for the ethnicity estimation. A lot of people just posted like crazy in social media about 1% being Nigerian. I don't know why they don't concentrate on the other 99%. And that's it. So a lot of the people that you match and you're trying to contact, they don't answer because they're not coming back to see their results. And that is a challenge, not only from MyHeritage, but from all the companies out there. And you can see, like, I'm not going to put like MyHeritage on the spot, but Ancestry has, I don't know, 20 something million of DNA kits in their database. MyHeritage Family Tree DNA has way less. I would say that those less, right now we're at 9 million in family tree DNA jet match, way less than those. Are those really people interested in genealogy? Are those people that are really going to answer your questions or your communications? The majority of the others, again, came, so went their way and never came back. But yes, more DNA tests will improve the matches, will improve technology, also AI, definitely analyzing huge amount of information is being very good. So in a couple of years, I hope to see new tools to help us find, similar to the theory of family relativities, but something more based on the DNA and again, family trees to go hand by hand.
Yes, thank you ever so much for that. I see that we have a
Pleasure.
question in the chat
Mm-hmm.
from Brenda. Since this is 101 DNA, please explain snippets and the significance of matching on chromosomes.
Good. So, yes, I missed that. But snippets is the areas that a chromosome has. Okay. You measure the chromosome in centimorgans, which is like saying centimeters. Well, you use inches. Okay. But in the rest of the world, we use metrics. Okay. So centimorgans comes from that. So in a centimorgan, you have many small pieces, and those small pieces are called snippets. And the amount of DNA that you share with another person are located into those snippets. So snippet number one is where the DNA start, and snippet number a gazillion 354 is where the DNA ends. Okay, so you know in which area of the DNA is located that part because of the snippets. What was the second part of the question? The importance on the matching?
Yes, matching on chromosomes specifically.
Okay, so the importance is that if I can detect, remember my maternal matches? If I can detect that I have more than one person matching the same piece of the chromosome, and in fact, I have done that with my Singer family. No, they don't go to any choir. That's the last name that they have. And together with the last name, we all share the same area of a specific chromosome. Everybody else, even if their last name is not Singer, even if I cannot find how we are related, but if I can see in that chromosome browser that we share the same piece, I can, I'm going to use a very bad word, assume and almost for sure that we are related through that family. In other words, and this is also something I didn't say, DNA is not a magic wand. Okay? DNA is something that requires study, analysis, and dedication. Of course, that if you are adopted, if you don't know your biological family, and you do a DNA test, and then suddenly you have a first or second cousin, well, yeah, then the magic work, and probably you hit the jackpot. It will be quite easy to find or to yeah to find out who is your biological parents. Any other questions, guys?
Thank you for that. Yes, are there any additional questions? Please feel free to speak up, turn on your mic, also turn on your camera if you wish to do so. Thank you ever so much.
either everybody understood everything or nobody understood nothing. That's
Well,
how it goes, right?
I do have a few questions for you.
Yes.
So people have been asking me for some time now when downloads of data are going to be restored at MyHeritage. And so I am bringing that question to the expert who hopefully can provide some insight on that.
Well, let me say, like, let me start from the beginning so everybody will be in the same page. If you tested on MyHeritage, you can download your DNA data without any problem. What you're referring now is the capability of downloading your share matches and the chromosome browser with your DNA matches. And right now, I don't think we will be able to bring it back. And I'm going to tell you also why. And it's all ending in just one word: privacy. In the last couple of years, MyHeritage has been tightening its privacy and its security. We really want to protect the data that we have from our users. We have seen a few very bad examples out there through the last couple of years, and we definitely don't want to follow that path. So that is why we're restricting a few of the things that we are doing, including download some of the matches and the information that you have about other people. But your DNA, you're more than welcome to download it and to do with it whatever you want.
Okay, thank you for sharing that.
Mr. Christmas, this is Abigail. I'm on a plane, so excuse me. May I quickly ask my question?
Yes, you may.
Yeah, I specifically have a question with regards to Ashkenazi Jew. I'm wondering, how is it that with Ashkenazi Jewish or Sephardic Jewish, it's not geographically broken down, but it seems to be broken down by religion. And I have a personal connection because my first cousin, 30% Ashkenazi, and my mom came in as Sephardic, as did my sister. So I was wondering if you can explain why it doesn't seem to be geographical, but it seems to be based in faith tradition.
So I will definitely do my best. So first of all, you're right. And the reason for that is because when you're talking about Ashkenazi Jews, they're not from a specific country. That term is used for all the Jews living in Germany, Poland, Romania, Hungary, Ukraine. So it's an area. Now we can, and we actually show you on the ethnicity estimation, the area where the person is, or the Ashkenazi Jews are. By the way, same with this Sephardic. Sephardic mostly is from Spain, but it will include a little bit of France, a little bit of Italy, a little bit of Morocco. Jews wander around a lot of places and they intermarriage with themselves, which makes it easier also to trace back those groups back in time. Now, with the new ethnicity estimation and with the genetic groups, we are able to make those regions smaller and even pinpoint to specific areas. And still, it's not one country or one town. For example, with my own people, uh, most of my family, at least the last 8 generations, they are from the northern Romania or southern Ukraine. Remember, border move through the two wars and they wander around. So my genetic group of the Ashkenazi Jew is actually Ukraine, Romania, Hungary, and Czech or Czechoslovakia, which is what it was before. That is the main difference between Jewish and other groups that were easier to identify. If we are talking about Irish people, if we're talking about English people, they were more focused on a country area, not like the Jews that move from one country to the other. I hope that will explain, Abigail, the case.
Thank you.
Pleasure. Any other questions?
Yes, yes, thank you so much for that. Question has been placed in the chat by Barbara. Like with 23andMe going bankrupt, what are the pros and cons to keeping or deleting your info?
Well, the first one, and this is not specifically related to 23andMe, if you delete your information, you're losing all the matches that that company is giving you. Okay, I think that is very clear. Definitely is up to you if you want to keep your DNA in any specific company. As a genealogist, even though I work for MyHeritage, I have to recommend you to have DNA in all the companies because you never know who tested where. As I said, Ancestry has 20 something million DNA kits. MyHeritage allows you to upload it for free. If all those 20 million will be interested in genealogy, they will come and upload it to MyHeritage, to GEDmatch, and to all the others just because it's free and they will get more matches. The fact that they didn't do it is kind of a proof that they're not into genealogy. So if you upload and you get matches, and then you delete it, or if you test it and then you delete it, you're going to lose the matches that you have up till today. But wait, you're going to lose also future matches. Remember what I said, to my surprise, we're still selling a lot of DNAs all over the world. A lot of people are waking up every day and suddenly becoming interested in DNA testing in this part of the genealogy. So if your DNA is not there, you're not going to be matched and you're not going to receive those results. Besides that, and probably more specific to 23andMe or to any other company, if you don't feel comfortable, if you have any hesitation on what the company can do with your DNA, or the company is not offering you enough secure and privacy, then yeah, you're totally entitled to delete it and move to another or not use any specific company.
Thank you for that. Yes, and a question that comes up often about MyHeritage is, what is the company doing to ensure that the less ethical members of the investigative genetic genealogy community are not abusing MyHeritage?
Well, we do have a few steps. The fact that we ask people to use a two-factor authentication, to renew their password oftenly, to need to opt in on certain things like the ethnicity estimation 2.5. We also check every time the person logs in and the IP address, making sure that this is you and you are always from home. Of course, and Andrea is in a plane. I will be in a plane in just another couple of hours. We all travel and we understand that. But If you travel from the West Coast to the East Coast in less than 5 minutes, well, please pass me that time machine because I really need it. Okay. So yeah, we're tightening it, all the security points and making sure that nobody abuses. It's kind of like with the discoveries, we limit the amount of the activities that you can do in one day. You cannot email people like 100 or 200 people on the same day. That is obviously spam and maybe not even a real person, or just doing copy paste simultaneously. So we're always we have a whole department in the office dedicated to privacy and security.
Thank you so much for that. We do have yet another question in the chat. What is the possibility of MyHeritage purchasing 23andMe?
I'm going to use my favorite icon on any chat.
Right. I would suspect that
You know what?
that's
Let me even put it right here. Let me see if I find it. If you have other questions in the meantime, just please be my guest. Yes, I'm gonna answer this in the chat.
okay. Well, thank you so much for that. On to some of the nuts
Exactly.
and bolts of using MyHeritage to get away from some of the other questions that I think have been well answered. And some have encountered situations where matches, relatives that they know, have been on their MyHeritage DNA match list. And then the matches disappear. And since they know some of these matches, they'll contact them and ask them whether they have removed their data from the site. And the matches say no, but they're still matching up on other websites. Is there an explanation for that phenomenon?
If I understood correct, and if the user didn't delete their DNA, what may happen is that it didn't disappear, but just went way down on the list, or the person may have not deleted, but changed the privacy setting on their DNA. Those are the two options that I can think about. If this is something that happened to you, get in touch with us. Write to our in our help section. You will find a way to communicate to our support people. Let us know. We will be more than happy to investigate further and try to see. Always there is the possibility of a glitch. Technology is not 100% uh, sure or reliable. Let's call it like that. You always have 1% of mistakes happening here and there. But we try to find those bugs and kill them.
Right. Thank you for that. I will have to look into that for sure. I see that Cheryl has raised her hand. Cheryl?
Thank you. First, can we pull down the presentation so we can see each other a little bit better?
Oh, sorry. Yes. I think I can do that. Give me just 1 second. Oh, okay. Here we are.
Much better. Daniel, thank you for the presentation. I just have, and I'll just tell you, I'm a data person, I'm a technology person. So my basis of the question is really trying to understand where the data rest or reside, and how does MyHeritage use the data? Do you de-identify the data and sell the data to pharmacy companies by, or anything of that nature? just getting a sense, and I'm sure I'm asking a question that many other people have about providing their data and sort of how that data is being used by the organization that is housing that data for us.
With no problem. And I understand you because I'm a computer engineer as well. So I think I can give you a very good answer. I cannot disclose the exact location, but all that information is in servers located in the United States. That's number one. Number two, the information is anonymized, meaning that the same database do not have everything. So in one database, you have names, and in a separate database, in a separate server, you have the DNA, and then there is a code that connect one database with the other. I'm sorry, I'm trying to put complicated technology in the most simple way. Now, pharmaceuticals, insurance companies, it is written in our terms and conditions. MyHeritage pledge and promise. We will never share that information with third parties. Universities, I can attest that some organizations, some groups, universities have asked even for that anonymized data, okay, to run statistics and to do some studies. As you say over there, no way, Jose, okay, we're not sharing your information with no one. That's a double negative, but I think you got the
Get
idea,
it.
right? Okay.
So Daniel, thank you. That's very helpful. And from a security perspective, can you share a little bit about that aspect of the software?
Not more of what I have already shared, okay? Two-factor authentications, passwords, long passwords. We're always checking that the password has not been compromised, connection with multiple IP address in a time that it's not logical, those kinds of things.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Wonderful.
Yes, I see another question here, Shannon, from Jerome. You want to go and read that? No, we're not hearing you. I don't know why. Your microphone is not down.
Thank you for that.
Your pleasure.
Wonderful. So the question is, are there any features, tools offered at GEDmatch that you are considering coming up with a version for your platform in the future? Thanks.
I will not be able to answer that because I don't know. Okay, it's not my department. I do know that we have a couple of people in the company specifically dedicated to see trends and to see what is out there, and either make partnerships, agreements, or acquiring technology, or sometimes just developing ourselves. As an example, we just released a few months ago during RootsTech Ancient Origins. Ancient Origins is a partnership that we did with a group that had the technology and the information to be able to do that. And before anybody comes back and said, wait, you said you're not sharing that information. Yes, that's right. We're not sharing the information. They are sharing the technology with us. And we are calculating that on our side. Okay. There are multiple ways to do those kind of partnerships. We pay revenues or we acquire that. So that is what those guys are being paid to do. And I do know that they are being very busy. I know that they were actually in Rootstech and they had a lot of meetings in Rootstech. So it will not surprise me to see some new features and new partnerships with JetMatch and any other company out there, not only on the DNA, but today we are here all for DNA, but also in other areas like trees, like photos, and all kind of things.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that. Now, I think one thing that hasn't been touched on yet is the ethnicity estimates to some degree. And I think also some of the other features involved with the relative matching are worth discussing as well. But I will get to this question that has been coming to me quite a bit regarding the European ancestry represented in the updated ethnicity estimate for African Americans at MyHeritage. Specifically, many African American customers have come to me asking why all or a good chunk of their European ancestry under this new update, the most recent update, is listed as Portuguese, and also why the amount of European is so much lower than what they were used to and what they see at other companies.
Okay, so I'm going to start by saying that each company has its own ruler, and I'm making the comparison to a ruler to measure that DNA. So that is why your ethnicity estimation on MyHeritage is going to be different than in any other company. We have our own ruler, we create our own founders population. Now, regarding the origins, you need to remember that you have a father and a mother, and they had a father and a mother. They traveled. The further back you go, the less DNA sample you have in your own DNA. It may be because you're taking random DNA that suddenly you lose one of your ethnicities, meaning my grandfather could be, I don't know, Portuguese, as you said, and then even 50% Portuguese. My father or my mother may be 0% Portuguese because the part that identified them as Portuguese was lost when the recombination of that DNA took a different part. Now, I would like to share for a second the new division of the ethnicity estimation, and those are the new 79 areas. Now, you see that we managed to do more areas on the Africa area. We still have big chunks of like West African, but also very concentrated Algerian, Moroccan, Nigerian, Somali. So again, it is possible. And also you need to remember, many generations back, when people went out or even in Africa, they were mixed with, and please excuse me for the expression, but white people, okay? People colonizing the Africa, coming from Spain, coming from Portugal, coming from England. And it may not be passed that to further generations because then, let's say like this, the result of that mix was more or look alike African, and then kept intermarrying with the African community. So that little piece of DNA that it had from the white ancestor started to get diluted among the black DNA that the person had with all the other ancestors. Okay, so ethnicity estimation, again, it's an estimation. It's not 100% exact, and it will depend on a lot of chances how the DNA was passed from ancestors up to you.
All right, thank you for that. Very interesting. Also, the auto cluster tool at MyHeritage is a favorite tool of a lot of genetic genealogists. But some would like to customize that tool a little bit more than what is currently available to them. And so, is there any talk of changing the parameters so that people can customize it, so that they can do more with it? Or is it just going to stay the same?
Unfortunately, for those of you who want to change those parameters, is not going to change. AutoCluster is a tool that exists out there also in, I'm not sure it's GEDmatch, but I know that there's Jay Bloom, I think is his name, the one that developed that tool. He has it available with less restriction, and you can upload your DNA and you can decide the parameters to that. On MyHeritage, we have done a lot of studies with the best possible parameters, even for people that are just newbies or they don't want to really go into the nitty-gritties of configuring that tool, which happens to be the majority of the users. Okay, most of the people just want a tool that you put everything in, you click a button, and you have the results out there. So that is something that I don't see us changing or making parameters more freely to move from one to the other.
Okay, good to know. Thank you so much. Are there any additional questions out there from the audience? Please speak now or forever hold your
All your
peace.
peace. Well, no, you can actually go to the URLs that we put on the top, okay? Because what happened is that people remember the question just as soon as we close the Zoom, or they go back home if they're not at home at the moment. So yeah, so you still have a chance with those URLs. But if you're here, why not asking your question? And I will be more than happy to answer.
We will
Sure.
keep that in mind. All right. Again, any more questions? Because if we stop getting questions, then we have no choice but to close. So,
Okay.
all right. Anyone?
So
We
then
will be here for another 3 minutes or so, at
just a
least.
reminder, if you have not taken a DNA test with MyHeritage or upload your results from the other companies into MyHeritage, why not? It's totally free. You will get most of the features and the same things that if somebody tested, and you will get definitely more matches, either for you or for any other DNA that you are managing, because I do know that a lot of people manage, again, the DNA of those relative that really don't want to know anything about genealogy or DNA.
That is great to hear. And I will just reiterate that it's so important to fish in all ponds for matches, because not all of your matches are going to be in one database. The people that you really need to break down brick walls might be in a database that you did not initially test with. And so that's why it's good to download your raw DNA data and transfer it to databases like MyHeritage, where you can find matches that may not be at Ancestry or 23andMe or Family Tree DNA or Living DNA. So get your data into all of the databases, and you'll have the opportunity to maximize the data points that you need in order to break down brick walls. Any questions about that? Right. Well, I want to personally thank Daniel for spending some time with us today. It is so wonderful to hear from him. I think it's been a number of years since we've been in the same building. So it's great to see you. And we thank you for all of your wealth of information today.
With
And
pleasure. It's really my honor. If you're going to be around Cleveland in Northern Ohio at the OGS conference, I'm right now heading there, if not NGS, I would love to be once more and anytime in the same room, building, city, or state, wherever you are, guys.
all right, thank you ever so much. And I want to thank everyone who came out today to participate in our special National DNA Day celebration. And again, because it is National DNA Day weekend, I'm calling it that. Now is the time to get those DNA tests at their discounted prices. Take them to your family members and tell them that they shall not be permitted to eat until they are providing that DNA to you in a sample kit for processing. All right? So continue to climb your family trees with the help of DNA. Also beware that we are having a Juneteenth celebration this June. Stay tuned for more information. And once again, thank you for coming. And everyone, have a super Saturday. Thank you again.
Bye-bye, guys.